amazing day with all the weather that's going on. Here in Portland, I wish you were here. It is what they call a bluebird day. It is spectacular. Blue sky, sunshine, fabulous, and frigid cold. But our frigid cold is not like the frigid cold that I'm reading about for some of you. I know Indiana, when I looked last, was like 2 degrees.
Oh gosh.
2! Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh. And I know, Lori, you've been working on your pipes. I'm so glad they seem to have thawed. That is lucky for you. Frozen pipes are like the worst thing in the world. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it sounds like you dodged that bullet, got taken care of. Michael, oh my gosh, all that snow. Florida has snow. Louisiana has snow. Carolinas, snow. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked as I've been talking to tulips around and about saying, okay, what about you? And I've been getting pictures and they're like, you're not going to believe this. Michael sent me a whole bunch of pictures. His car has totally covered with snow. His snow is coming down. It's Florida. I mean, my goodness. New Orleans, watching people ski down the street. What is that? It's just amazing. And then, sadly, I saw that another fire started in California, so if you're down there, my heart goes out to you and praying to the weather gods, the wind gods, that it stops, because it's all just too much. But today, we're here. We're in Portland, Oregon. It's fabulous, and you're with us. We have an entirely full house. It's quiet, although you may hear giggling and such on the other side of the wall, because yes, class is in session. Teacher Jerry is on the other side of the wall with the students. They are making wedding bouquets using the technique that she taught on last week's live, so now they're doing it in real life over there, which is very exciting. So if you hear laughter going on, that's our reality, that's our world. In the studio, we have teacher Michelle, and we have creative director Ricky. So they're watching to see what you type in there, letting me know what's going on. So, that's your job. Type in, hi, I'm Leanne. I'm from Portland, Oregon. Tulip. Okay, have you done that yet? Come on, we're waiting for you. So get it done. I want to know who you are, where you're from. If you're a tulip, go ahead and add the icon and get to know each other. Start the collaboration. That's the whole purpose of these hours, is to connect, inspire, collaborate, and get to know each other. So if you haven't done that yet, get on it right now. Also with us virtually, Teacher Dove is with us from Texas. Teacher Michael is with us from Florida. We have Susie. She is actually with us from California right now because she is out and about. And then Caledonia, which I didn't find out where she is right now. So Caledonia from wherever in the world she is. So we've got Caledonia on Facebook, Susie on YouTube, Dove and Michael probably popping back and forth. And David, I know you're out there. Anyway, you better be. You're supposed to be. We set your alarm. And now we have you. And thank you for joining me. It's pretty wonderful. It's going to be a great day. We have so much planned for you. Look at the cool stuff. Amazing, isn't it? Lots of grand stuff. And we have a special guest in the studio. I know, we told you this was happening. You're not supposed to be surprised. But it's not about me today. I'm just doing the housekeeping, telling you what's going on and filling you in. But the real program and the real excitement and the creative genius is going to be coming from one of your fellow tulips. In Portland today, direct from Arizona, didn't even have to do a 2-part flight. It was very easy and no delays, no connection problems, no issues because staying on the West Coast where it's not snowy and stormy and frigid. So we have Christina joining us today, which is going to be grand fun. She'll be talking several different design techniques, design philosophies, and creative fun, all with you. So let's get started. I'm
Institute with the tulips.
I just love that. And when you wore them, I was like, oh my gosh, how cool is that?
Thank you, thank you.
So Christina is a graduate of the advanced course and then also did the designing for competition and evaluation. But she was a florist for, you told me, 30 years?
Since I was 1, yes.
Baby arms. I guess we shouldn't have said that.
Yes.
For many years.
Many years.
So 30 years.
Yes, and wanted to start my journey of accreditation, and this Floral Design Institute really got me on the path to getting where I wanted to be, and it was just marvelous. Everything here and just giving you that direction and that dialogue, it's been really helpful. You know, wherever you work at the shop, whoever's signing your paychecks, that's kind of what you learn, but to be here and to refresh and learn the classic design was really helpful and really helped me when I was testing for the PFDE, so that was immensely helpful.
In that 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
you worked traditional stores and you've done freelance work.
Yes.
And I know you do things with the wholesale companies periodically.
Yes.
So you've kind of gone all different
I-
avenues.
I'm originally from Chicago. I live in Scottsdale now, but I'm originally from Chicago, and I did the Chicago Flower and Garden Show for a few years with Kim Oldis, who's also AIFD.
And we're moving into garden show season.
Yes.
And so, okay.
So yeah,
how cool is
I
that?
kind of, ran the gamut a bit, but I'm most happy teaching, and that's what I do in Scottsdale. I teach workshops and classes. I freelance as well, and do a lot of garden shows where I'm on stage just demoing some fun projects that I have, and just being involved, being in it.
How exciting. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you chose to spend a little time with us.
It's my pleasure. Yes, I
excited.
would have swam here if I needed to. Yes,
Well,
it's
I know
great to
you
be
have
here.
lots of things. We're going to do some more chit-chatting, but I'm going to
Wonderful.
pull out your first arrangement.
Yes, let's get
Because
started.
I know you have
Yes,
a lot
I'm
of
very
stuff.
excited. Yes.
And then you, if you've got questions, this is your chance. You have Christina for the next 50 minutes. So if you want to know something about what she's done in Chicago, in Arizona, in her prep for testing, in her freelance, type it in there. And if there's somebody that you know that should be watching, you know what to do. Tag them, share this out, press like, so we can spread the word. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this piece, because I know this would be your first one. Do you want the armature as well?
Sure, that would be great. Thank you.
While you grab that, we have a few folks that are first timers. Jolene is a first timer, and Jordan from Phoenix said, "Yay, Christina!"
Hello, dear.
So welcome, Jordan. We love first timers and tulips. Give Jordan a resounding welcome, because that's pretty exciting. Did I get that name right? Was Jordan the first timer?
Jordan and Jolene are
And
both
then-
first timers.
Okay, so
Yes.
Jordan and Jolene, so tulips, you know the drill. Make them feel loved. You're on it. It's your job. So what do we got here?
So this is a piece that I actually used when I tested for the PFDE, and a little different in the sense of what I use, but similar components. I wanted something that I could practice beforehand. Practice is key. I wanted something that I could have very clean mechanics and very consistent mechanics. And I wanted something that played off of the Fibonacci sequence, which I learned here at Floral Design Institute from teacher Michelle. We'll never forget that. And I wanted to utilize a common commodity flower of a carnation, because I was hoping that I would get some. I was pretty sure I was going to get some. They're pretty readily available. And I wanted to also deconstruct it and utilize the entire carnation just to showcase the morphology, the interesting bits of a carnation. It has a little secret, that I learned. Probably not new to you, but new to
might
me.
be
It
new
was
to
very
me.
cool. So if we can get started, I can show you its secret.
Let
It's
me
kind
go
of
do
neat.
some carnations.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
And then you just tell me what you need.
Okay.
And we will go from there.
Okay, so I'll start with the armature first. How I start this is I measure it out about 1.5 to 2 times the size of my container, as
So
we do.
back to your measurements,
Back
yeah.
to the basics and account a little bit for the height. And so that's how I start out. When I'm putting these river cane pieces together, I am doing the same thing each time. So that's clean, it's consistent. I go back and I twist it one more time and clip them all. So again, clean, consistent. That seems to score well when you're clean and consistent. So I wanted to keep that in mind.
So for those of you that maybe are not familiar, the PFDE is the design test to get your accreditation with the American Institute of Floral Designers. Now, what Christina's talking about are the techniques she used for that. But these would be the same techniques if you're doing any competition where they're judging you on your steps. Now, Ricky, as we got this, does it show the whole thing on camera?
It does,
You did, okay, and is Christina on camera so that we aren't?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great.
So then now you can carry on.
So with this humble, oldie but goodie, underappreciated carnation that we
They
have,
are so wonderful.
I love them and the colors that they come in, and they're just a workhorse for you. They're okay out of water, they're okay in water, cut short, kept long. They're just grouped together to make a peony look. It's
Isn't that
just,
amazing?
they're just a workhorse. They can do a lot for you. So what I like to do is utilize the whole thing. So the petals I use the sepals, the calyx. Now if you twist and behead
Oh my gosh.
as you go, these are very, very fresh. So sometimes when you twist and behead it comes off, but since these are fresh, I'm gonna actually cut this, just like this. And inside is the seed pod, which is incredible. So it's just a little treasure inside the carnation.
It is such a beautiful little baby.
It's so good. It's so good. So I keep these in a little pile, and then I keep the sepals in a little pile, and I keep the petals in a little pile.
So you
And
dissect the whole
I do.
thing.
I take off the leaves, and you can kind of wind them in this square that I've built here. And I even keep the stems, and I grab a bunch of them at one time, and I try to be consistent as I'm cutting them. I don't mind that they're offset. I don't want to be judged or docked points if they're not totally perfect. So it's good to have a little variation with the nodes that you're seeing and the different heights. So I'm okay with that. And it's a good way to, start your lines, which is really helpful when it comes to designs. It starts drawing your eye and giving it some movement through your arrangement. So it brings some interest.
I just found my little baby.
Look how cool, right?
Cool. Oh my gosh.
So
okay.
amazing.
So dissect
So amazing,
the flower.
so good. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So if you're having a bad day and you're cranky,
Dissect away.
yeah.
Deconstruct
I mean,
away.
it
They're
just sort of like,
fantastic.
take that.
Right. And then you can throw these in the bathtub or
Oh my
sprinkle them
gosh.
around, and it's just
And all
a
of a
good
sudden
day.
it makes your day a little better.
It does. It absolutely does.
Oh, I
Yes.
love it.
Yes. So how I'm going to start this then is I will make a line with these carnations. I'm going to cut them pretty short. I'm going to pave them so they're really, really close to the surface, just like this. And whatever I do on the front, I want to make sure that I do them on the back as well. When you're cutting carnations, always a nice fresh 45-degree cut, and cut them either above or below the node. That will help the water intake. It's so nice to have everything all laid out here.
I know, isn't it
Yes,
so?
it's very nice.
So while you're doing that, Ricky or Michelle, anything going on that we should know about?
I've got Daphne from Scottsdale saying hi, and Tessie from Honolulu saying hi.
Oh, hi, Dr. Tessie.
And then Leah Romanowski says hi, and she's also a first timer with us.
Oh,
So
really? Oh my gosh, you have never joined us before? Excuse me. We need to see you, Miss Talented herself. Oh my
Canada
God.
is represented today. How
I
about
love that.
Thank you for tuning in. That's so sweet. I love that. So I've started the line here. I'm also going to add some of the spells of Ireland, the Molisella. And
Okay, you told me that. Say it again.
Molisella.
I always call it molecule. Obviously, I was wrong.
No,
No.
tomato.
I I think I was
Okay.
wrong. I never knew. Say it again.
Molicella.
Molicella.
So bells of Ireland.
Molicella.
So it's just pretty, just pretty.
It's a great way.
Yeah.
Molicella.
I see Michelle here has something she wants to tell
Oh.
us.
I have two questions. Well, one question from two different people. They'd like to know what your base medium is. What are you inserting your stems into?
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So I've used Black Midnight Oasis foam that I've soaked and cut it very, very close to the container. And then I've topped it with sand. It's a great medium, it's good coverage. I did not get sand at the PFDE. That would have been a nightmare, I'm sure, with 100 people.
Can you imagine the weight?
However, we did get raffia, that I was that girl that you heard clipping and scissoring all the raffia, and then I just made a nice little base to cover. Because
how
if
cool
you
is that?
can't see the foam, and if it's not above the container, you can't get docked for it, because then it's just covered up. So, but sand, and it's just great. So when you're putting these flowers in or your armature in, you have one shot. You don't want Swiss cheese, so you have one shot. However, if it moves a little, the sand is just very forgiving, and it's fun to write in. You can write your name in it if you want.
So do you find that it gives you any frustration inserting through, or is just fine?
So I will insert the armature prior to putting the sand on, just because I don't want that grittiness in there. However, when I'm doing these flowers, they accommodate it just fine.
Interesting.
And I believe it holds some of the moisture in, because the sand will
It
hold
works as
that
a barrier to
moisture.
the air.
Right.
Interesting.
So it
I've
it
never
works.
worked with sand. I'm kind of excited to try
It's
this.
It's a little
Very
messy, but
cool.
it's kind of fun. It's all good. So we'll start with these bells of Ireland. They're phototropic, so they'll grow to the light. But since I'm putting them all upright, they can stand up straight tomorrow and it'll be just fine. So I'm just placing them. I'm going to place one behind. And then I'm just going to measure as we go. I'm cutting above the note or below the note of this.
So another question,
Yes.
is your dad's name Dale?
Yes.
He said, good job, baby doll.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Dad. Biggest supporter ever.
I
He and my
love
mom
it.
were the biggest cheerleaders ever.
So, okay, tulips, shout out to Christina's dad, Dale.
Dan,
Make him
yes.
feel very excited and welcome to be here, and tell him just how grand his daughter is, although it seems like he knows.
No. So I'm just continuing building on my line, nice and straight. I don't want them to be, symmetrically even, so I have a bigger space in between just to carry my eye up, so it's nice and interesting. I'm also going to go ahead and cut these very, very short down in, because I will use them as well to kind of have a place in this arrangement.
So now, when you sent me your list, you had specifically asked for red carnations. Were you trying to do a direct compliment, or was it just you like red?
I wanted to do a complementary color hue, and because the sand and the armature are also one color, I feel like it's a nice benign background, so your flowers really pop. So yes, red and green, complementary colors, gotta love them. So that's good. So again, I'm just segmenting these bits here, and I want to make sure that when you see these inside that I've cut, that they're nice and straight, all the same, and kind of hidden by these little florets. And then I'm just going to make lots of lines in this one.
So you're creating horizontal lines as well as vertical lines.
I am, just so that it's nice and interesting. I love the smell of bells of Ireland. It's that beautiful, sweet fragrance. You can't beat it. This one's a little not perfect. So
He's
we're
wonky.
gonna put
He
him
goes
on the
by
side.
that.
He's going to go on the side, and that's okay.
Phil popped on to say, you're doing a great job.
Yay!
He's still
Thanks
my
for
heart.
joining us. Very
Thank you.
exciting.
Thank you.
I know, isn't she fabulous? We love Christina.
You're very kind. Thank you. There's a lot of Phil in my designs. I'm sure there's a lot of Phil in a lot of people's designs. but
Exactly.
yes,
He has set the standard for all of us.
absolutely. So, and then I'm just going to continue on covering. So, as you see, when we've beheaded these, and I've shown you this, What I also added in was a sweet composition of this. So I will show you, if you can see. So I've used the sepals and the petals of the carnations. When you are testing, you do get some cardboard. There's always a little bit, and it's versatile, it's great. How I create this is I take some U-glue strips, which are very clean, and it's a nice application, and I will U-glue onto, and try not to get my nails stuck in there.
I know, that's always the
They are
hard part.
sticky, they do work. And we'll put these on, and then I layer on these petals of the carnation, and then these sepals that I have cut. So I will show you how I do that. So I just U-glue all over here.
There's more
Oh, thank you.
sepals, more
Thank you.
petals.
Thank you,
There
thank
go.
you. The trick is just to not get your nails.
I know, that's so funny, because you think, oh, this is fine, and then all of a sudden you're stuck to
Yes.
your arrangement.
yes,
Like,
yes.
okay, I go with it.
So as you can see, I have this cardboard here. I will also put some U-glue on the back as well. And I will start layering these sepals right to this cardboard in a nice, as uniform as I can get them. And I will just continue cutting them very simply. And just keep layering and layering and layering. So this is a very therapeutic also.
The detail work is amazing, how
Yeah.
it makes such a difference, but it does take time.
It does take time, but if you practice it, you get faster, and then
Mhm.
that's helpful because you really want to buy your minutes when you're testing
Right.
or competing. You really
Sure.
want to be mindful of that. And then I just eyeball it halfway. I will take some of these carnation petals. It's funny, we have a whole big workspace, but don't you end up just doing everything on one?
On one spot,
On one
yes.
spot, always. That's how we do. And then same with these petals, I'm gonna start at the top and work my way down. I don't worry about the stems being so short in this because I think it's extra adhesion, so I'm okay with that. But when I get towards the bottom, then I will go ahead and just behead them. So that's just a nice clean cut. So by the magic of
That's right.
doing it beforehand, I'm gonna add this right in here. And you can add a little bit of U-glue to this river cane, which I'll do now. And it's best if you use titanium scissors on this, but if you don't have titanium scissors, you can just dip your scissors in water and cut. Ask me how I know, because it's very sticky.
But it is amazing how the water does solve that.
Yes. And then I will just put a little bit up here underneath, so you can't see it, but it's there. And then just a little piece on the bottom, just so it's not moving anywhere. It's gonna stay put where it needs to be.
You have another shout out from Scottsdale. Both Franks say hello.
Oh, good. That's my husband and my son. Hello. I love a Frank, apparently. I have two of them, so that's good. Hello, honey. Hello, Pooh Bear, and hello, Franco. Bless them, because I've been taking classes and you know, kind of living my dream with these flowers. They do eat cereal for dinner.
That's right.
Often.
You have how many children?
I have 3 children. I have a daughter, Isabel. She's 15. A son, Frank, who's 14, and Daphne's 11. She'll be 12 on the 1st of February. So
And are you going to be with her on this birthday?
I know I was here last year
Yeah.
for her birthday.
Oh.
Sorry, Daphne, but it worked out, I guess.
But are you, yeah, so you go out and do a double time
She has
this
a
year.
club volleyball tournament that day, but yes, we will be there. And she'll be doing her thing as a setter there. So again, I'm just gonna pop this in here, stick it in there nice and tight. And then when I finish it all at camera, I'll fuss with it a little, but I even take the, the little leaves from the stem and you can weave them in here. And it just utilizes the entire carnation, which is cool.
How cool is that?
And if you want a little bit more red brought up, you can also use some of the mini carnations. I kind of like them long. I clean the stems so they're pretty, but I don't mind a little bit of the leaves. I think it's kind of a nice,
together a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, cutting above the node at a nice fresh 45-degree cut. And I want a little bit of flow. So I'm gonna put them here, just so they kind of dance a little bit. So got a little something. I hope that looks nice in the camera.
If not, you can
If
fix
not,
it
let me
later.
know. Or tell me. Or say, hey, Christina, move it over. It's not looking great.
So if you all have any questions for Christina, type it in there. Ricky and Michelle are watching and they will make sure that she hears and knows and answers. So just fill in the
Yeah,
blank.
let me know. And I also want to finish up the back, so I'm going to add some more here. And then I'm going to continue this color so that it's off, and I might add just a few on this side here. Maybe not a whole line, but maybe just one, just to give it a nice balance.
Pull the color over, yeah.
So with all these wonderful treasures that we plucked out of here, I will go ahead and take metallic wire, which I have here. I'm going to cut some of this out because I bet it's a little long. And I've threaded them right on this metallic wire. These are all those great seed pods. And then to really emphasize the focal area of these red carnations, I will just pierce right through.
So you're going right into the head of the flower.
Right into the head of the flower. It's not going to hurt it, and I might give it a nice little wave. Since I have a little wave here, I'm going to emulate it here just to keep it nice and consistent. But this is just a very fun arrangement to do, so try it. Deconstruct those carnations. It's very delightful.
It's amazing how creative they become when you start looking at them as the components as
Right.
opposed to just the blue.
Right, and it's a fresh take on a underappreciated carnation.
True.
Yeah.
Ricky, what have you got there?
Yeah, Taylor is wondering what kind of direct inspiration you had for creating this design.
Deconstruction. I love floral deconstruction, whether it's cymbidium orchids, carnations, anything really. So that really led me to, but again, the Fibonacci sequence, I love that mathematical equation for beauty.
So it really went to the science of the flowers and
Yes.
design as opposed to
Yeah.
just the creative process.
Yes, and then I love textures. I love making pieces that I want to go into and they're evocative and interesting. I think that's just very fun and great to do something that you're like, well, hey, I didn't get that. No, you did. You got carnation. So it's
You just didn't think about it.
yeah. So
I
it's
love
just a great piece to do.
Okay, so I'm going to take this one aside. I know after we go offline today that Christina will be working on it from the front side
Yeah,
because she's
just so I can
designing
see.
backwards just so
Yeah.
that she can fluff it. And then tomorrow Ricky will be taking professional photos. So snapshot this in your mind. That way you'll remember what it looked like during the live, and then after she fusses
Zhuzhes
with
it
it
up a little
and makes
bit.
it
Yeah.
spectacular,
Yes,
you'll
yes,
see it
yes.
again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll move it. Here's a
Okay.
garbage can if you want to
Oh,
clear your
wonderful.
stuff,
Thank
and
you.
we'll bring up your other design.
Oh, I'm
And
very
while we're
excited about
doing
this.
that, Teacher Michelle, what have we got on?
Well, I have a couple questions. Candy wanted to know, how long before testing did you start practicing your designs? And how often did you practice before testing?
That's a great question, Candy. And how I prepared for this was a lot of practice, I would say a few times a week. Whether it was building the armature that I just made, I think I started out where it took me 8 minutes, and I think I got it down to doing it in 4 minutes. So I just really wanted to,
So you did this in 4 minutes?
I did. Because I
Okay,
know
people.
I need 14 pieces, I know that I need 3 pieces up here in this, and I just started. So when at PFDE, when they said go, I was the one grabbing this and laying on the floor and putting everything and doing, and 20 minutes after my legs started shaking, you know, or then I just wanted to have something, because you do have a designer's choice. So this could be a designer's choice. This happened to be my arrangement piece, and I did something else for designer's choice, but there's nothing to say that you can't practice and really be efficient in what you're doing. So when you're testing, you know in the back of your mind, oh, I can pull from that, or oh, I got this product, oh, I know I can make that, and you've practiced. It's the tactile practice. It's not just watching, because I love consuming floral media, everything, but when you actually do it and practice it, you become comfortable and it just becomes second nature. But sorry, to answer your question, so I went to Symposium 20 years ago. That was when the seed was planted for me. It was sort of like when Dorothy walked out in The Wizard of Oz and everything was color. That's what that symposium was to me. I didn't know a world like that existed. And I've always wanted to try, but just life got in the way, and kids and husband and dog and this and that. And 2 years ago, I was like, that's it. It's now or never. Let's do this. And so that's where my journey started with Floral Design Institute again, which was just so great and so
On her
helpful.
daughter's birthday, she
Yes.
was with us.
Yes.
Yay.
Sorry, Daphne Kate. Yes. But she was very, very sweet, and the kids see it too. And just being a mom, like I do a lot of laundry and dishes and picking up dog poo, and this is something that I had 30 years of knowledge in my brain. So I wanted it for me. I wanted that accreditation for me, that it was validation for me. So it was just great to be here. So I took the advanced class. The designing for competition and evaluation was incredible.
Which that was May.
Yes.
And it's May again this year too. But yeah, we do that just once a year. Because
Candy, if you're thinking about it, sign up today, because Teacher Michelle, Teacher Dove, you're there. So they're all CEJs. So they know it.
And actually, we're expanding it this year.
Oh.
We'll have Teacher Dove, Teacher Michelle, and myself,
Yes.
all AIFD, CEJ,
CEJs,
and
wow.
then also partially you and I are PFCI, and then we'll be bringing in Teacher Michael,
Oh, right.
who is
Yeah.
also PFCI,
Awesome.
and then Teacher Annie is going to be here as well. So there's actually 5 teachers this time. I'm like, okay, I hope I have at least 5 students.
You better get some more coffee cups for you.
I know, it's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty great. So that's May 18, something like that. And so if you're thinking about it, join
That
us.
was just incredibly helpful, because it's really full circle, big picture, things that you wouldn't even think about, so that it's not, oh, I wasn't expecting that, okay, now I'm nervous. You're like, oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, okay. It just gives you a little bit more confidence, and going in there, that's what you need to get the job done.
I
Yeah.
love it.
So,
Why don't you hand me those, so we
Okay,
get
great,
them out of the
yeah.
way, and
Thank
then
and then
I'll
we'll
let you
start
talk
on this
about
one.
that.
So this is a piece that I created. I wanted something in my house that went on my front table. So it's kind of a 3/4 piece. And I wanted to use longer lasting flowers, because who doesn't want longer lasting flowers? So my recipe changes as they do. We want some products, and if they're not available, you need to pivot and figure out. So today we're going to be using some bromelias and some cymbidium orchids. These moss sticks I found at the
These are the
Portland.
coolest things
I
ever.
love them.
Oh my God.
Love them, but if you don't mind, I also saved, these are the moss sticks that I got. They're just great, and they add that Portland lush feel to the arrangement for sure. But I used some kale on some other things, and this kale would actually be really cool too. So just looking at
And
the
their
kale
stem, but
stems.
that purple is so grand.
But I mean, look at your materials. See, obviously this one's a little shorter, but just look at your materials. You pay for these stems, as Phil Rolota says, so you should use them.
That's right.
You pay for them, use them, but it's just a great color. Like the purple would have been awesome too. So just read your material. Sometimes it's unexpected and very cool. So I originally thought that I would use a king protea front and center here, and I had to pivot this morning because I saw this gorgeous bromeliad.
That is exquisite.
And I know Leah Romanowski does a lot of work with bromeliads, which is fabulous when she competes. She uses these as the water source and designs into
Yeah, because
this.
they do hold water,
Yes.
which is amazing.
I know, it's really something cool. But we're gonna behead this one.
Oh, don't
So,
look, don't look.
Everybody take a breath. Close your eyes, take a breath. It's done.
Okay.
You can look now. So you have a lovely green plant, Leanne, to bring.
Oh,
There you go.
David, that's why we have a plant for the table with a hole in the center.
We'll just cover it with something. Put a carnation in the middle or something.
That's right, we'll have carnation.
It'll be fine.
It's deconstructed.
Yes, all good. So I'm gonna take a couple of these off. Just so I have them here. And I'm gonna cut this down shorter. And I am going to place it.
And they last so long, it's just kind of amazing.
Yes, I'm really gonna sink it in deep here.
Which is gonna make it last even longer because
Yes.
it's right in the water source.
And I like to place these focal flowers where they're not directly facing you because I feel like your eye stops.
Right.
So if you angle them up like this, your eye goes through the arrangement and it's able to move around,
It adds so much more to the rhythm and the flow of the lines, perfect.
which is great.
And it's interesting how the lower leaves are green, which picks up the color of your
Yes.
moss,
So
so you've
it
got
all kind
unity
of-
going on.
Kind of works. And then I loved this burgundy muted merlot color that we have going on here, which matched the throats of this Cymbidium orchid.
Which is exquisite. Oh my gosh, when
Take a look at
she came home with that from the market today, I was like, oh.
this. It's hard to shop there and not want to bring everything home.
Exactly.
Your market here, you guys are so lucky in Portland if you have a chance to go to the market. 3 in 1 and you just go.
You know, the class is so exciting because they get to go next week, because we always do the field trip with them, and they're like, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you've got about 20 minutes left with Christina. So if you've got questions, get them typed in there. I know she has so much to continue sharing
Yes,
with
I'm
you.
very excited. So I'm going to go a
And
little faster.
if you haven't shared this out with somebody or to tag anybody, please do. Let's spread Christina out to the world because she is amazing and we want as many people as possible to know what she knows. Because look at this, how cool is that?
This one I did not know. I did have to ask, and we did have to Google. So this is the elephant ear alocasia, not
Anthurium,
anthurium,
but yeah.
but so wonderful.
But isn't it so grand? It's such a
Yes.
beautiful leaf.
Yes. So very simply, I'm just going to place this right in the center here. Back it up, just to give me a nice strong back.
It's interesting how much design now is doing the large leaf in the back. That seems to be a new trend that has come back in style.
I love it. I think it's just, it frames your arrangement, especially when you're doing something horizontal like this.
Mhm.
It just makes it nice. I mean, this is asymmetrical, so it has a little tension, but it just rounds everything out. It's
Right.
nice. So I'm gonna look at the Cymbidium and just see where it's, I mean, it's lovely any way you turn it, but I'm just
It
gonna
always has a face.
try and see which one I like the best. And I'm gonna pop this, I'm just gonna see how much I need to cut off, not too much. Just enough. And I vacillate back between the knife and the clippers here. So we're gonna keep that kind of tall, but just this burgundy picks up this burgundy and just,
You know, I was taught originally when I first worked with Cymbidium, so let's say when I was 16 years old, that whenever you used a Cymbidium, you accented it with the throat color, which you've totally done
okay,
here.
interesting.
And that you never would use a Cymbidium unless you
You had
accented with the
something
throat.
to have. Interesting, I like that. So next I'm going to use these clematis fluffy pods. And I have these over here somewhere. And I'm going to keep these taller just to kind of enclose this a little, just another texture, another interest. I'm making this asymmetrical, like I said earlier, so one side's going to be just a little heavier, but I'll balance it out with something on the other side.
I'm going to turn it after you put that in so
Sure.
that they can see the back. And
Yes,
then
and
that'll
we'll
give you
fill
a
it in
chance to
as
look
well
at the
too,
back.
That
That way
sounds
you can see the front if you
Yeah.
want to change anything, and they can see how the leaf has
Yes.
filled in the back. So you can see it is truly a flat
Yes.
surface.
And I can use this one to face, or I've seen where designers are using the back of the leaf as the front. So it's just another way of thinking of your material, just changing it up a
Exactly.
little bit. It's the same thing, but just doing something different. So we can definitely add this there. And then you also got me beautiful variegated lily grass. And just to emphasize that focal area of that bromeliad plant, I'm gonna go ahead and make some of this order and disorder of this lily grass, and I'll attach it in here.
So while you're working on that, Ricky and Michelle, anything that we need to be following up on?
Lots of just amazement at the size of those leaves, how spectacular, prehistoric, somebody said.
I know, they are just amazing, absolutely gorgeous.
Couple other folks saying hi. Kim Oldest says hello.
Hi, Kim.
And
She's a fellow Oregonian now, yes?
Washington.
Washington.
She's just up above
Close
us.
enough, yeah.
we'll claim her.
Okay,
Absolutely.
there you go. So I know this looks a little wonky now. I might use a little glue just to really attach these in. When I use the king protea, I just weave them in. The bromeliad's a little different, so I'm just going to change it up a little bit and cover it in that. So these U-glue dashes are great for that. When you want to have a little bit of magic and not know exactly how they're going. I only use a fourth of a tab of it though, because they're kind of pricey. So I kind of,
Well, sometimes you just don't need that whole thing. so-
right, yeah, you don't want a big glob of glue sticking.
We just did a Tulip Tuesday on that, but I'm not even sure it's released yet. I think it's coming out in a couple of weeks. So if you haven't received our Tulip Tuesdays, we have one coming up on U-Glue. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, and then you'll get it just directly to your email box. And then if you're on YouTube, there is a playlist of the Tulip Tuesdays, which are all 1 to 2 minutes of wonderful bits of information to make your designs more fabulous. So yeah,
Very
there's a
inspiring.
U-Glue one coming up, and
Oh,
so it's
good.
funny that you're doing that. It's like
Yeah.
we've got
There you go.
a video
I'm
on
just
that.
segueing for that for your
I
next
know.
one. Yes.
Or you're stealing my thunder, one or
No,
the other.
No. Yeah, it's just a great product. It's really just magic. And you want to know, well, how is that on there? And I can't tell.
No, it's magic.
It's magic.
Had to go to flower school to learn that.
Yes. Yeah, not magic school, flower school. I had been doing flowers for 30 years, and when I took the class with Michelle, I still learned things I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never knew that. I mean,
Isn't it funny how we
Yeah.
know so much, but there's
Yes.
always more. I'm
yes, and
still
always
learning
a
every
different-
day.
Yes, and that's what I find just very interesting about flowers is that you just fall in love with them over and over again. They're ephemeral. They're with us for those special moments. They're not supposed to be forever. You know, they're kind of like Girl Scout cookies or red cups at Starbucks when it's
If you
Christmas
had Girl
time,
Scout
or-
cookies year-round, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun.
Right, right. I would probably also be 800 pounds, but you know, we digress.
Brent says, love that you're using the color of the year with Mocha Mousse in the Cymbidiums.
I know, we have Mocha Mousse here.
Hi Brent, how are you? He is your vice president this year of AIFD. That was really awesome. And I think he'll be president in St. Louis where he was inducted, or inducted, I think. So it's like very full circle for him.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that is pretty exciting.
He's a great one.
I did my testing in St. Louis.
Oh, so what year was that? 02?
David, you'll have to help me on this. I want to say it might be 2001 that I tested, and 2002 we were inducted in New York, but I'm making that up.
So I think I was in St. Louis in '02. I wonder if we passed each other in the hall.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder.
It is a small world.
It is, yes. And I'm just filling up a little bit with Israeli ruscus in the back. I've really cut down this foam so you can't see it. Again, so when you're testing or competing, if they can't see it, they can't judge you on it, right?
I love it.
So I'm just covering all my bases there. And
There's
then,
so much truth to that. It's like, make sure you cover your mechanics,
yeah.
period.
Yes.
There's no gray area.
Yes. And then I also had some leucodendron right here.
Okay.
So I don't want to make it look like I forgot about the back and I'm just loading it up with some greens. And if there's a mirror or something behind it, I am going to add this leucodendron.
The color matches
Yes.
the bromeliad perfectly.
And I'm going to severely tailor it just so it's nice and clean. But I might add this in the back just so that it's a finished look. So it's not like I just, oops, I forgot to do the back. And so I'm just going to add some of these here and sink these down in deep.
David chimed in with tested in 2004, inducted in 2005.
So I was way
Okay.
off. Okay, thank you, David. I knew you would know.
Keep this on like this. And then I can finish this one off camera too, just to cover up all the bits, but I really want to do my next piece, so I'm gonna shove this one off because I really want to get to the next one.
Okay, so everybody take a look and put it in your memory bank. Off camera in a bit, she will finish it up.
Yes.
And then Ricky will get photos. But you can see how the mechanics were put together, the line, the concepts, and the creative genius. But yes, and there's more.
Yes, and I really want to get to this one because I'm very excited about this one.
I will move my decapitated bromeliad to save some room for this.
You can put it right next to your purse because you're taking it home with you. Oh, so these are the armatures.
Is that what we want to talk about next?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Very quickly for these because I really want to get into the
Yeah.
other.
Oh, the
Yeah.
other. Okay,
Yes.
so let's do this really quick.
Okay,
Really quick.
I kind of have an addiction. Hi, I'm Christina from Scottsdale. I have an addiction. I love making armatures. I think they're very versatile. I think that it's great craftsmanship. I think it just adds an element of handmade where you can't buy it at the store. So these are just some that I've made, some simply with taped wire, but versatile where you can add 2 of these with some chicken wire. It could be a fascinator.
How cool is
You
that?
know, it's malleable. Like this one, I've used rustic wire from Oasis, but you can, blend these shapes down. So if you're wanting to do a Hogarth curve or you're wanting to do an enclosed bouquet, it's just super versatile. And it's a beautiful element. It's nice because you have binding points. So if you have flowers that need a little
Help.
something, you can bind them to, which is really, really great. It comes in all different colors, so that's wonderful.
I will take finished pieces.
Yes, this is one that I've just done with, now these are in my suitcase, so they're a little battered. However, this one I've done with some mulberry paper and some floral netting, and then the flowers just get placed right in here. This one I did as a stained glass armature, which is great. I keep the center open for some transparency and to show the craftsmanship that I've done, but you can put cymbidium orchids, calla lilies. It's just open-ended. You can do so much. You can do a spider web technique. This is just with bind wire, so this is just great as well.
I think this is a workshop in all its own.
That
We may have
would
to
be
do
so
that.
fun. Yes, if you're interested in a workshop, we should do a workshop. That would be really fun.
Let us know
Yeah.
what you need.
Yeah. So this one I made using date palm, and the back is completely finished with a spider web design. So I hand did this, and I reinforced the top with some extra wire. This technique of this crumpled bind wire I learned from Gregor Lurch. It's called and his German is better than mine, but it's the Prudushka technique where he scrunches this bind wire. You won't see the bind wire once everything is in place, but it just gives you some gluing surfaces, it gives you some extra depth, some dimension, raises things up. I've also tucked in some natural colored reindeer moss because it's just a good adhesive surface. And it just, if you have any imperfections, you cover that up. And then I've used date palm to continue to wrap around.
So this is the date palm.
Yes.
Okay.
So if it's a little more stiff and you want it to be a little more malleable, you can soak it. When I had it, it was a little fresher, but I simply will start tucking this in here and just get it in there really good.
So while you're weaving that, Ricky and Michelle, anything that we should know?
Well, a lot of folks are chiming in with their induction dates. And Teacher Dove said, I've only missed one symposium since being inducted in 1997.
That
Oh,
is
wow,
awesome.
that's amazing.
And he's always very well dressed at those. I've seen some outfits.
Dapper.
He shows up. He shows up, let me tell you.
So we've got about 8 minutes with Christina. So if you've got questions, now's your time to type them in. Don't regret it. Don't forget asking. If you haven't shared this out, please do. You've heard me say that before, but we need you to do that. If you want to experiment with some of the techniques that Christina has shared with you, join us for Designing for Comp. And if you think that an armature workshop is interesting, type it in there. Let us know, just so that we can see. So,
Yeah, how fun would that be?
oh my gosh.
Maybe when it's a little warmer though. in Portland.
Yes.
Just
Maybe
saying.
not when it's snowing and
My thin Scottsdale blood is not doing so well in the cold
here
here.
it was
but it's sunny.
27 this morning. I was like, oh my
Well, I
gosh.
woke up and I went to the market at 5:30 this morning because I'm that girl, you know.
You're
You have
that
to be there
girl.
when they roll up those gates, and there was frost on the ground, and I haven't seen frost since I lived in Chicago. I was like, oh, I remember that. I want to go home now. That's great. Or I see the snow from Michael's pictures you showed me. I'm like, no, I don't want snow. My body's not made for snow anymore.
No.
But it is really beautiful, I do have to say. So I've prepped a lot of what I'm using, this product, in a hydration chamber. So why I like to use these is it makes your flowers very turgid. This is a bridal bouquet, so it doesn't need to last a week. It needs to last the day, hopefully a couple more days, and it usually does. So when I prep these flowers, I will tape and wire each one because sometimes I want a little bit more stem. But I simply put them in a airtight container with lots of wet paper towels. You can put them in layers, but I even have pansies, and you can see they're turgid,
They're sturdy.
so they're gonna last what you need them to last.
And you wired and taped that as well?
I
Yes, you
did.
did.
So
Okay.
for that one, I used the hook technique.
Mhm.
For these hydrangea, when you use a hydrangea that's the maturation stage is good. An antique hydrangea will just dry naturally, which is great. But some of these beautiful ones, if you cluster them using that technique, it just locks it in and they'll last. And especially if you give them that hydration period. I even have hellebores,
I love that. 'Tis the season.
which is so iconic of Portland, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I don't use them when they're at this stage. This stage is beautiful, of course. Once these flowers and this falls off, then it's mature, and then these won't fade.
Right.
These need constant water or else they're very quick. So just knowing your product and playing around and experimenting and seeing. I also grabbed some succulents, which were kind of cool at the market.
Ooh,
You have the
beautiful.
best market here, I'm telling you. So I'll continue to pop a couple of these in, and if there's any questions or anything. But this has just been, I'm gonna use some foil adhesive with your awesome holders. I learned that at flower school, which is
Little
great.
things. What can
And
I help you with?
I just have a little piece of plastic, just a something. Perfect, thank you. Just because I want this to air off, so it just more tacky and I'm not holding it here for
Forever, gotcha.
So I'm just gonna rub these in and I'm just gonna let them sit for a little bit of time. I'm gonna cut them a little shorter. But these pansies are great, hellebores. I also did some hyacinth. Oh, and I have that lemon cypress and some more that are in those vases there that I prepped. Some freesia, which smells awesome. I feathered some, you had a large carnation, I feathered it and made it a little smaller.
So as you
pansies.
are working on this,
Yes.
we've got a few minutes for any questions, and then what we'll do is get some pictures so you'll be able to see it all finished
Yeah.
in its completion, because it is handwork, which takes a little more time,
Yeah.
but you can see how she prepped the materials right
Yes.
here, and as she starts, and then we'll just see it as it fusses. Yay!
Stoma. This is
Isn't that
great.
beautiful?
This,
Such a great color.
We get this in Arizona quite a bit, and I love using Arizona product. I feel like once it's cut from the host and it's delivered to you, and just that we're pretty rough in Arizona with our weather.
Yeah, it's
I
so
just feel like
dry
they
and so
last.
hot.
Yes. So we can take, thank you. Take this away. Thank you.
Look at that.
Share what you commented on about the fragrance of the Lysianthus.
Oh, green pepper. Do you guys ever cut your Lysianthus and smell it or take the leaves off? If you, right over here, if you just shuck some of the leaves off and smell it, it smells like green pepper. It's really cool. Like take it off, kind of like a...
Like a green bell pepper.
Actually, it does.
Does
Oh
it?
my God.
Isn't that weird?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I don't love green bell pepper. And that's what it smells
But that's
like.
what it smells like.
Ooh. Yuck. Huh.
Well, not ick, but just, oh,
Yeah.
different. Okay.
But, yeah, you'll never see a green bell pepper in our house. They're
Ah.
just not my thing.
What about a red or a yellow?
I can live with those.
Okay, it's just the
But
green.
green bell peppers, yeah.
My mom used to make stuffed green peppers
Oh,
with the
yeah, I
rice
would-
in the ground.
I would-
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's when you knew you're tucking in for a long time for dinner that night.
Yep.
When you saw that pan come out, you're like, oh, she made green peppers. There you
So
go.
I'll scoop out the innards and pretend to enjoy it.
Fair
But,
Fair enough.
although they're not as bad as beets. Beets is my thing that I absolutely detest.
That's pretty earthy. Pretty earthy, I could see that.
So we did have one last question, which is actually just an ask again. But
Yes.
Debbie wondered how long were you practicing your designs before you felt prepared for your testing?
Up until, I mean, I wanted to keep, I even brought some wires to the hotel room before the night, just because I wanted to keep that going. But I did a lot of mock PFDE, so if you have a person in your area who's AIFD and you just say, hey, I need 5 categories and a procurement list, you can time yourself. Put your phone down with a timer, see where you're at. Do your easy stuff first that you're comfortable with, and then move on and maybe do your personals when your hands are clean. After a while they get kind of gross. And then just keep practicing. Practice.
Cool.
It makes perfect.
I'm gonna lift this up so that everybody can
Yeah.
see a bit, and you can see how it started.
Mhm.
And then once the camera's off, Christina will be finishing it up, making it fabulous. But oh my gosh, I am so glad that you flew
Thank you for
in.
having me. This has just been delightful, and I'm just happy to be back. It's just such a great place to be.
And it seems like you were just here, but yet it's been a year.
Yes, a lot can happen in a year. You just need
And here
to.
you are.
Yeah.
Next up, I'll be seeing you in Palm
Springs,
Springs,
yes.
walking across a stage,
Which will be
getting
very
away.
exciting. Very
I
excited.
know.
Very excited. Very something that I've wanted for 20 years, so
Well,
I
and
did it.
30-year commitment,
Yes.
20 years desire,
Yes.
1 year of focused intense.
Really, yes. And just practice.
And here you
Just do
are.
it. Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. This has been so awesome.
Thank you all for joining us. Susie, Caledonia, Michael, Dove, Ricky, Michelle, David, and you. Now get out there, go do something you love, and we'll see you all next week when we come back for Valentine's. See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.